I've actually been lucky enough to ride both of the US's hyper hybrid coasters by Rocky Mountain Construction, Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa, as well as Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, and they're both easily some of the best rides in the game. But which one is truly the hybrid king of the US? That's what we're going to talk about today. Although these coasters' heights don't feel too different, Iron Gwazi's is about a foot taller than Steel Vengeance's at 206 feet, meaning it earns its first point. Speed is again close. Steel Vengeance hits 74 miles an hour, while Iron Gwazi edges out the win, once again at 76 miles an hour, meaning although it's very close, Iron Gwazi goes up 2-0. This is where Steel Vengeance finally begins to shine, as it is considerably longer at 5,740 feet compared to Iron Gwazi's much less 4,075 feet of track. This means that Steel Vengeance is right back in it, earning its first point. Steel Vengeance's drop is 90 degrees, and Iron Gwazi's drop is just a little bit steeper at 91 degrees, starting to notice the trend here. Nevertheless, Iron Gwazi is still just steep enough to earn itself its third point. While Iron Gwazi has, in my opinion, the better inversions, it only has 2, while Steel Vengeance has 4. As much as I want to give this point to Iron Gwazi, we're looking at stats, meaning Steel Vengeance gets its second point. On Iron Gwazi, the chain lift begins to slow down at the top, letting you take in that breathtaking view of downtown Tampa Bay, as well as some of Busch Gardens Tampa's other world-class coasters. As cool as this may sound, when you really think about it, this view isn't too cool. Steel Vengeance's view, on the other hand, is absolutely breathtaking. You have Lake Erie to your left and in front of you, and you have the rest of Cedar Point to your right. This means that we're all tied up at 3-3. Both coasters have some of the best first drops in the world. They're very similar and very forceful, but in my opinion, I do believe that Iron Gwazi's drop is just a little bit better. The steeper angle makes for better airtime, and the curve near the bottom gives great forces, and it lasts so longer. This means Iron Gwazi regains the lead with its fourth point. This category really does hurt me, not just because both these rides breeze you from all their airtime, but because Iron Gwazi has my favorite airtime moment ever in its Outer Banked wave turn, but I just don't think I can give it the point, as Steel Vengeance has more airtime moments than any other coaster in the world. By the time you make it to the last stretch of Bunny Hills, you've had almost 30 seconds of weightlessness, and Iron Gwazi just can't match what Steel Vengeance does. This means we're tied 4-4. When I first got off of Iron Gwazi, I called it the I-305 of hybrid coasters, and I stand by that statement to this day. As much airtime as Steel Vengeance has, it just isn't as intense as some other coasters like Maverick, and of course, Iron Gwazi. With all that being said, don't go into Steel Vengeance expecting a tame ride, because that's definitely not true. Iron Gwazi is just so insane, I don't think Steel Vengeance can compete. In my opinion, Iron Gwazi is the single best paced ride I've ever ridden. You know how earlier I said that Steel Vengeance is much longer than Iron Gwazi? Well, that actually kinda hurts it in this category. By the end of the ride, you aren't going too fast, but on Iron Gwazi, you fly into the brakes, and from the first drop to the end of the ride, you have no time to catch your breath. Iron Gwazi gets its 6th point and takes a 2-point lead. Now, usually I wouldn't make this a category, but one thing that really stood out to me about Iron Gwazi was just how terrible its operations were. They were averaging around 3 minutes per dispatch, but because both these parks are really popular, and because both these rides have the longest lines out of any of their respective parks, it is very important to get trains out of the station and keep the line moving. This means that Steel Vengeance gets its 5th point, cutting the lead to 1. This may come as a surprise to many, but I actually think I prefer Steel Vengeance's classic wooden structure to Iron Gwazi's more modern steel lift truss. Just the crazy amount of wooden supports makes Steel Vengeance a lot more intimidating to look at, and it gets you a lot more excited to ride. And just like that, we're back to being tied at 6 apiece. For the final category, we have Best Element. Now, both these rides definitely have their standout moments. Steel Vengeance has the Outer Bank, and Iron Gwazi has the wave turn. Earlier, I said it pained me to not give Iron Gwazi the point for airtime, as it has my favorite airtime moment ever. Well, now that's coming back to haunt Steel Vengeance. As good as the Outer Bank is, Iron Gwazi's wave turn is the single best element I've ever been on. There were numerous times where I was on the verge of standing up during the wave turn, and I don't think anything can beat it. This means Iron Gwazi wins 7-6. So, Iron Gwazi gets the win, and in my opinion, I think it's the better ride. We all have different opinions though, so if you think Steel Vengeance is better, I would love to hear why in the comments below. Also, we're trying to get to 500 subs before Top Thrill 2 opens later this year, so if you want to be a part of that journey, consider subscribing as it is completely free and you can always unsubscribe later. But anyways, we've reached the end of this video, so please exit to your left and enjoy the rest of your day here on YouTube.